Guys, getting back on the streets. Oh, here comes the E30. You know, it's so easy to chase the next flashy thing. I know it sounds like I'm just saying something so I can make a video, but I'm not. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm trying to tell you guys my thought process and the way that how I go through these ebbs and flows. So, like, for example, you see NVIDIA beat their earnings, and then I'm riding around with my wife looking at these fancy houses. And, you know, it's, like, so easy to be like, oh, how can I get to this level, you know? And it's like, you feel like that level or the next thing is going to bring you unlock some secret joy you didn't know existed. But it's really, 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 really good to remind yourself that it's not the materialism or anything like that that brings real joy. This morning when I was walking with the baby and I was talking about Michael Saylor and I was walking, I was listening to a video, and then I got to this one spot where I was walking and there was this empty lot and there was like light shining on the lot and it looked so nice and peaceful in there. Like, it was just perfect green grass with this like super nice tree and like a palm tree, and I was like, man, it looks so peaceful in there. And I thought, I had shut the video off because the video felt like noise, like static, and I was like, this video is annoying. And I was like looking at the lot and I'm like, damn dude, this is freaking nice. And I was thinking, that's real peace, like that's real happiness. Just like, it made me want to put down a blanket, dude, and have a picnic. It sounds silly, but I'm gonna drive over to the lot and see if I can find it. But it's good to remember, peace of mind is so powerful, dude. Peace and progress, not a bunch of stuff. Here's that lot I was talking about. I know it looks cheesy right now in the video. You can't really see what I see in person. Saying is, it's very easy to say to yourself, like, I'm going to take a massive risk and I'm going to go balls to the wall and I'm going to go all out because I think I'm going to 10x my money, or I'm going to do this crazy thing. I've done this before in the past. You get this idea that, you know what, I'm going to take way more risk and I'm going to end up in a much better position in the end. But what you forget is that even risky speculation takes an extremely long time. It's not like because you go, I'm going high risk and I'm speculating, that you're going to all of a sudden have some massive return in a short period of time. I think a lot of times people forget that when they take the speculation or they take the risk. It takes a long time even for the speculation. So you have to have really strong conviction and have made an informative decision that gave you that conviction that'll enable you to stay in the speculation through the adversity. So for me, every time I want to speculate or I want to go a little balls to the wall or take some type of massive risk, I like to remember, I'm like, do I have the patience for this? Because we're going to go through all kinds of stuff before I'm going to see a realized gain, if there is even going to be one. But for example, like, let's say you took 10% of your portfolio and you invested it in something that could 10x. That's going to double your money. So maybe you have the gut to speculate with a small portion of your portfolio. And if you're young, that could be fun too. If you have a long time horizon. Kind of the setup that I was preaching for a long time is that I would have like 5% of my portfolio I would speculate with, and the rest was in a safe core or a few safe things, you know, like a few ETFs. And then you have a small portion of your portfolio that you speculate with that could outperform. And if you lose it, and it's not the end of the world. You didn't bet the farm. There's a story, I can't remember, it's in Money Master of the Game, Tony Robbins' book. And it's the guy, I think he worked for Volkswagen. He was one of the richest men in Europe or Germany, I can't remember. And he basically put all of his entire net worth on Volkswagen stock. I think it was Volkswagen, or he shorted it or something. And it literally went to zero. And the guy, his identity was wrapped up in his wealth. It was like his god. And he literally committed suicide because of that. And I think the stock actually recovered, or he applied for some loans. It might have been Volkswagen, like the business. And I think he applied for a bunch of loans to save the company, and he committed suicide, and those loans that ultimately came through and everything was fine. But before you make a decision related to finances or anything in life, just take your time and think about it, sleep on it. Because sometimes we make rash decisions. I'm telling you, this is the way I do. I'm talking about myself. I'll make rash decisions without thinking things through, and then later on I regret it. And then I got to unwind it all. and then that takes time, and you lose money with fees and whatnot. If it's crypto, I've done that with cryptocurrency a lot of times, and dude, crypto eats you alive. The fees are insane. What I like to do though is I like to have some type of a plan. So for me, it's income focused. I miss out on a lot of gains, but I gotta be honest. I'm saying this because I used to be so speculative. Whether it was Shopify back in the day before it was even anything, or I was buying Avalara stock, or the Quantum a year ago. I always had some type of speculation, or crypto from 2017. And it's like part of me wants to keep speculating with a small portion of my portfolio, but I've gotten so focused on the damn dividends and the income that now it's like I chase these little goals. Like I'm at $64,000 a year in income, and I'm like, I want to hit 70. Like if I hit 70,000 a year, dude, that'll be like massive win for me. So I just try to push myself to do that. But part of me does want to speculate with a small portion of my portfolio, or maybe like new money that I can create through my business I use to speculate with, like just something small, whether it's adding more Ethereum or, and that's not even that speculative now, but it is with the prices it's at. Might be a buying opportunity, who knows. But what I'm saying is, what you should do is, well, this isn't financial advice, this is what you should do, but this is not a bad strategy I've found over the years, just from making a lot of mistakes and like buying and selling and jumping around and doing different things and watching thousands of videos and getting confused, being stressed out, can't sleep at night because I'm worried about the thing I bought. What's not a bad strategy is to have your core, whether it's like your S&P 500. A lot of times people will have a core and satellites. So like let's say you have your core, your planet Earth. That's your VOO or whatever it is. For me, it's SCHD because I'm really dividend focused. Now, your satellites, you could add whatever it is you want. If you want to diversify, some people are against diversification. If you look at the super wealthy, a lot of them didn't succeed by diversifying all that much. They went all in on one thing, like Jeff Bezos or Buffett or, I don't know, a real estate mogul. They stuck with one thing and they just went aggressively at it. But if you wanted to diversify, for example, you could add like a satellite, whether it's like an international fund, or maybe you want to have your main core is tech and then your satellite's dividends. But whatever your core is, and it's the one that you're going to have for the future, for me, it's dividends. What I like to do is I take a small portion of my portfolio, like 5%, not even the satellite. This is just a separate little side dish. And I'll speculate. I'll buy some single stocks, and half the time I never have any kind of win whatsoever. Half the time it's garbage. But you might have one where you might have one that takes off. And then what you do is you take that frothy pump that you got from that win, and you just take a little off the top and put it into your core. And for me, it's dividends, and I just keep doing that. I take a little off the top and I add it to my safe dividend income that's never going to go away, hopefully. And then in the long run, if something collapses or the thing that went up one day and can go down another goes down, I don't feel like it's the end of the world. But the data does show that if you have a winner, like let's say you have one that's a compounder that has real earnings, over time, the data shows that you actually do better if you don't sell them. You just hold on to them and let them compound and let them ride. So if you have a speculative thing and you've held it, unless like for example, like me with the Quantum, when the Quantum went off, it went up 1,000%. It 10x'd in the account. And when that happened, I was looking at the earnings. I'm like, this company they're like issuing new shares and they're in debt, like Rigetti. I'm like, dude, I took the money off the top. I sold 80% of it. And then it tanked again, and I bought some more in my wife's Roth, and then it spiked again like crazy. I did the same thing. I took 80% off the top and I kept 20%. So you could also do your research and determine whether or not it's a real sustainable thing with true earnings and revenue and not a lot of liabilities, or it's like you're like, this is getting a little bit stretched. I think it might be time to take a little off the top and throw it in my dividends, or throw it in my core, or my S&P 500 or QQQ or whatever your core is. I'm just saying that can be a strategy. That if you do that over time, you can remove a little bit of the emotion, and you're like, this 5%, it's my little gamble portion, and you don't have to constantly be like losing sleep. Like, what did I do? I put all my money in Bed Bath & Body Works because valueinvesting.io said it was undervalued. I don't know what in the hell I'm even talking about. I'm trying to make YouTube videos to get passive income so I can get more Dividend stocks. All right, I'm getting my laptop out of the frunk and I'm going in here. I'm trying to get this thing dialed back in. I got to work on the business. I'm limited on time and I'm spread thin, but I've got big dreams. Got big dreams.
I'm looking for a little speculation. I was looking at this name. I had it a while ago because the market cap is so low and it fit my 100 bagger strategy, but I don't know if I'm getting any. I was trying to find stocks related to like something in the future that people aren't thinking about. Like, I mean, everyone's thinking about robotics and automation, but like, for example, like what companies will benefit when like UPS says, all right, we need to have robots and also some type of software that we can program for these robots to like scan packages and move packages around this warehouse, or you know what I mean?
And everything around the table more, okay? First part of our holiday movies. I really personally like the sugar. Like the sprinkles on top of it. Alright. So let's it doesn't fit. It's actually size matcha. You want sweet plastic or no sweet?
All right, guys, just finished working at Starbucks. I'm back in the 911. So you guys know, like, if you watch the channel for a long time, that in the past I would take a portion of my portfolio and buy like some speculative stocks. Well, that really stemmed from like the book I had read, 100 Baggers or 100 to 1 in the Market or something. I can't remember the title, but and watching Manish Babrai over the years, he also influenced me doing that. So that's how I originally bought the quantum stocks like a year ago. But I don't really do that much anymore. But what I'm getting at is, for fun, I wanted to see like, is there any like stocks that fit the criteria? So the criteria is really like no stock is really 100x'd when the market cap is like freaking $1 trillion. You know what I mean? So you're looking for like small market cap, on average below 500 million. And then, is it in like some type of a growth path? Like when I had bought the quantum was whether or not the company has earnings or not. These companies don't have earnings. This is just pure speculation, like straight up gambling. But you're just using the criteria from past stocks that you've seen 100x. So it's like, okay, does it have some kind of future narrative that is going to be talked about? And is it being talked about right now? You don't want it to be in the mainstream media now. And you want the market cap to be below 500 million. So for fun, I was playing around with like, I wanted to see like AI related stories, cloud computing stories, robotics related stories, ones that are going to be the narrative in the future, which already are, on CNBC and stuff. But these are companies that could become part of the story. But again, straight up gambling. I'm not even really buying these, I don't think. I'm just showing you for fun. Check out that Integra. But CYN is the one it thinks is the most... Oh, damn, dude, I'm spilling coffee everywhere. CYN is the one it thinks is most likely to perform in the future. Who knows? Straight up gambles. But CYN's interesting. So what they do is they actually... You could take an existing forklift or equipment that you have, like a tug, like a baggage claim car, like the tug. I think it's called a tug, actually, TUG. And you could equip it with CYN's automation software and secure and the sensors, and it would make it an automated, like robotic driven forklift or tug or whatever the hell you're using it for. But what's interesting is that it's actually, they're using Isaac, one of NVIDIA's I guess programs or software, I don't know, chips, I don't know. And what's interesting about it though is that you could take an existing forklift and equip it with this and these sensors and it would work right away. So it's kind of wild when you think about it. It'd be like pretty quick to market if somebody wanted to use it. Also, their revenue looks like it's increasing. I know it's pure speculation, but I mean, that does, if you were to like think, would this be used? I don't know if they'd have a lot of competitors, you know, like in the future, if like there's gonna be a lot of companies that can easily do this. But it's pretty interesting when you think about it. So that's one of the names, and then Wrecker's one of the names. They're like AI related to traffic. What are some other names? Oh, and then TSSI. It's TSS Inc. The ticker's TSSI. They are basically like data center infrastructure, like maintenance and setup, I think. So that's one. But their revenue is not really that great. Their earnings look like they're declining. Where CYN looks like their revenues are increasing. And then, you know, I talked about Butterfly Network in the past, BFLY. Now, you can't judge these stocks. Like, you can't look at them and say, oh, dude, the thing's crushed 80% year to date. You can't judge them like that, these speculative ones. These are ones like you buy them and you hold them for like 5 years and you wait to see if the narrative around them comes to fruition and their earnings increase or they get some kind of contract. It might be like something like you might have some small news and the thing freaking doubles or triples and then you're like, I'm selling it. You know, they're just pure speculative gambles. And who knows, you could end up having one. It's like an asymmetric bet, kind of. It's like you have a couple, you make a little basket of these speculative stocks and then maybe one of them takes off, and they all go to zero, or maybe one just maintains, you know, and none of them ever become anything. But you could have one that become 10x's and becomes a monster company. You just never know. Who knows? But I just throw it up here for fun. I just showing you guys what I was reading about. And I did my payroll. Now I'm back on the streets cruising. And I got some other things I got to get done. But I'm going to hop off now. Guys, back at the house. I was just thinking about that CYN stock and how it automates like forklift operation. I was thinking, that's kind of terrifying in a way. I'm a certified forklift operator. I had to take the little course or whatever, but I used to drive a forklift when I was a diesel mechanic. Like, you know, like getting pallets of stuff or taking a transmission core around to the dock. But what I'm getting at is, imagine like a automated forklift, like picking up a pallet of like bricks or something. You could see how it could be a little sketchy at first. Like, all right, give him the go. Let him go ahead and do his thing. Back at the house playing basketball. It's 5:40 a.m. About to go to the gym. I gotta do shoulders. Alright guys, let's get in the 911, get the day started. Wake up all the neighbors. Alright guys, I made it to the gym. I was just thinking, you got to take huge risks to get big rewards. Sometimes I feel like I just want to take a big risk. You know what I mean? Like putting 100K in CYN ticker. Autonomous forklifts. It's like, we forget how important it is to protect the downside. Remember Buffett's rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. If you are going to speculate, I think it's good to look for like asymmetric returns, like Paul Tudor Jones said. Like find something where the reward outweighs the risk. Like maybe if there is, for example, I'm not saying that CYN stock, they don't even have profits or anything, but like you find something where it's more likely that the upside is going to outweigh the downside. Like how much lower can it go kind of thing. But who knows, maybe that's not the case. I don't know. I'm not too speculative, but I got that little taste right now where I'm like, I want to add a little speculation to my portfolio. But at the same time, I was saying this in the last video, you think it's some quick money-making thing, and it's not. The stock market's really not a place to just try to make quick money. It takes a long time for those things to come to fruition, even speculation. All right, guys, I'm going to the gym. All right, guys, back in action. I just finished at the gym with these shoulders. I'll throw it up on the screen, my little workout that I've been doing. Holy hell. I don't have much crypto, but I'm dollar cost averaging in a tiny bit here and there into Ethereum. I feel like Ethereum's network will get busier with all the stablecoin action in the future. Who knows? I could be completely wrong. But with EIP 1955 or whatever the hell it is, their update, Ethereum is deflationary when the network's busy. So over time, there should be less and less Ethereum as people stake too to earn yield. Who knows?
About what you don't have.
Hard to say what's going down. All I know is that the stock market's a little confused, just like we are. That's why it's good to have a simple plan, stick to it, and just keep adding. That's what I do with my boring SCHD dividend focused for income. It doesn't matter if the market's going up, doesn't matter if the market's going down. I know my little boring dividends are still paying. I know people are still getting gas at Chevron. People are still paying their Verizon cell phone bill. Hopefully. People are still drinking Pepsi, unfortunately. And I know that the companies have a history of raising their dividend. So hopefully we'll get a little paycheck raise in the future without having to do anything. It's not much, but it's something I can count on. Sometimes there's a lot of value in that. I still think the AI narrative hasn't really trickled down to regular, like right now it's like the infrastructure build out. You know, everybody's like Nvidia, the chips, Google Cloud Computing, Amazon AWS, and then you've got everybody related to that build out, like all the infrastructure play things like hyperscale data centers. But I don't think the AI narrative has trickled down to companies like Verizon or UPS, you know, where people start to talk about robotics. I think that's the next thing. You know, it's like AI, then robotics, then automation, whether it's vehicles or if it's robotic automation inside of warehouses. And I feel like that type of stuff is going to trickle down to those dividend stocks, even though they're boring. I'm a hippo with a tie on. This is ADHD money, hippo finance. So do not take this with a grain of salt, please. This is not financial advice. I'm just thinking out loud. But what I'm saying is, I feel like, you know, when people start saying, wow, what's going to happen when UPS has, like, what I was just picturing, what if UPS had an autonomous truck and then it had a robot that like threw the package onto your front lawn? Be a mess probably. Forklifts driving around dropping pallets. They'll get so smart they'll probably form a union, the forklifts. No, but what I was saying was the reason I was mentioning that was that Verizon got the contract to do all the the cables for AWS new data centers. I heard, I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw a headline, high speed data or something. I'm not sure what it is exactly. Cruising through the Porsche dealership. Should we trade this in for a Cayenne? It's like, I couldn't do that. Let's see what we got out here. They're open. I don't like coming through here when they're open. Ooh, dude, I like that. 991 Cabriolet Carrera with a navy top. If that had carbon ceramic brakes, no joke, I'm not lying, I consider getting it. Because you know what kind of car I want to create? I want to get a white Carrera with a navy top, and I want to put white wheels on it. I know it sounds silly. You got to trust me. And then if you see a Tech Art body kit, dude, on a 991, it is clean. A 991 Carrera S with a Tech Art body kit, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, you know what would be nice? Get that car, lower it, Tech Art body kit, white wheels, and then paint the calipers navy blue like the top. I'm telling you, you don't know what I'm talking about till you see it. Or they get that blue one, that blue Targa right there, and get gold wheels with the silver lip. Holy hell. Look at this GTS. Damn. Can't tell what they have inside. It's too shiny. They got the Suncoast Porsche decal on the side of the car. I don't know who's keeping that on there, but that's nice. That's nice. Another GTS, silver. Check out that Cayenne. That's that color I like, that teal color. And then you got a 993, and you got the GT3 RS. I'm not mad at it. The 993 Cabriolet. If you want to get a 993, an inexpensive 993, get the Cabriolet. High mileage Cabriolet. I forgot how to even say the word. My arms are like jello right now. So is my brain from the gym. Oh, they're opening up shop. They're having a meeting in there. They're probably, who in the hell is this wacko driving around at 7 in the morning? picture the Wu-Tang Clan with the freaking swords. Sounds like a damn bag of snakes up in here. So yeah, I think with this stock market, I'm gonna try to post this video today because I'm way behind on videos. Like, I'm probably 2 weeks of videos if I post one a day. So I'm so far behind, it's not really fun because I'm talking about things that by the time I post this, they're like, Bitcoin's at 110 or Bitcoin's at 61. But no, I think with this kind of stock market, this is a great time to remember. Index funds is simple, ETFs, keep it simple, dollar cost average. And look at the VIX and the Fear and Greed Index. Historically, when the VIX is elevated, VIX, you can look it up, type in VIX stock for it to pop up on Google. When the volatility index, when that's elevated, and when Fear and Greed Index is an extreme fear, it's actually at 6, dude. In October 2022, Fear and Greed was at like 14. But the VIX was way more elevated. It was at like 60. I'm not saying it's a good time to buy or anything. I'm just saying, historically, if you have a long time horizon and you just, keep adding and don't watch the headlines and extend your time horizon even longer, the data shows you'll be in the green in the long run.